Hello, Somerville. My name is Ed Halloran, and welcome to the Somerville Labor Show. I am very happy to be here. At the opening of this show, what I have to do is I have to show you something. The Somerville Media Center gave us an award, 2 weeks ago, and we're very excited about it. It's we're a brand new show, as you know. We've been on the air just not even a year. So we've got the best new scat TV show. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. And it's going to be a hard act to follow. So we're going to see what happens here, but we're very thankful, and we're going to have a little segment on this at some point in time to let everybody know how thankful we really are. So this show here, this is our second show of the second season, and I want to mention what you see behind us here is obviously beautiful Union Square. In all of its glory, and it's going to be very exciting. A lot's going to happen back there. And you also see the Jewish Labor Committee sign, along with the SLC sign that we have here. So I just want to mention something about when I first learned about the Jewish Labor Committee. You know that I'm the president of my union, and whenever something's going on, I know the Jewish Labor Committee will be there. That's what they're all about. They're all about supporting people. And I got to be very candid. I had no idea it existed until I did some homework. I did some research, and I discovered that they've been in existence since 1934. And I just want to give you a little history of it before I introduce my very special guest here. The Jewish Labor Committee was formed in February 1934 by Yiddish-speaking immigrant trade union leaders. In the beginning, the purpose was to rescue Jews and trade unionists from certain death at the hands of Nazis. The JLC's leadership helped secure U.S. visas for 2,000 union leaders and their families in Eastern Europe, France, Germany, Italy, Austria, and Belgium. The JLC also raised almost $300,000 to buy weapons that were smuggled into the Warsaw Ghetto. Following the year, the Jewish Labor Committee helped settle refugees and helped them find jobs and set up Holocaust educational programs. So that's pretty impressive stuff. It really is. And I had no idea about that. So I'd like to introduce my guest, Marya Axner. She's a regional director of the New England Jewish Labor Committee and since 2008. Before working at the Jewish Labor Committee, Marya worked in the education department of the Jewish Women's Archive. She also worked for the Somerville Public Schools organizing and supporting parents. She has been an art teacher, a multicultural consultant, I like that, a multicultural consultant, and a writer for a nonprofit organization. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad that you're here. I've known you for a while now. Tell me a little bit about the JLC and what motivated you to do this and to become, the director. Regional director.
Well, I grew up in Chicago, and my dad was a working person. He drove taxi, he worked in a restaurant, he worked in a factory, he was a door-to-door salesman for a while. Eventually he settled on being a salesman, but he was a working person. Everybody we knew were working people, and we were also Jewish. And then, somehow that community kind of disappeared a little bit. And, someone told me about the Jewish Labor Committee, so I came to one of their board meetings, and I thought, oh my gosh, these are my people. These are the people that I know. These are people who fight for workers, and they're Jewish. And I just felt completely at home with them.
So it was right in your wheelhouse. That's what we like to call it.
Exactly. That's right. It was.
Right on the sweet spot of the bat.
That's right. That's right. That's what it was.
So you became involved. How long ago was that?
Well, that was about 13 years ago.
Okay. And did you find yourself, because I know this happens to me, it happened to me before, did you find yourself just, like you said, you just kind of got not pulled in, just willingly? Very
much. I was excited about it to find my people.
So tell me a little bit about it. Tell me what it is that the Jewish Labor Committee does. What's its function? Because I think people are going to want to know what that is.
Right. So
I'd love to know.
Okay. So workers and labor unions in particular have really a hard time winning their campaigns. And this over the last 30 years, 40 years, maybe 50 years really, since the 1970s, labor law has weakened protecting workers. And so you need community organizations to support unions and workers and labor campaigns. And so we're one of many community organizations. And so we mobilize the Jewish community in particular to learn about what's going on with workers, and we are workers, and to, as a group, stand up for workers. So we come to picket lines, we speak out, we have rabbis make statements, we sign petitions, we do what needs to be done to show employers that the Jewish community is watching this, and we care.
I have a feeling that you guys are very organized.
Well,
I just have that feeling, I can tell, because I know I've seen this over the past few years now, with our revolution and Somerville Stands Together and all that, and people just coming together in this groundswell. So I think being organized is incredibly important, and I can see that that's something that that's important. So you guys show up, you walk the picket lines, you get the petitions signed, you work hard for people. Let me ask you a question. How do programs like this in Jewish Labor Committee, how are they funded? I mean, do people just give donations and join?
Well, yeah, I mean, labor unions help us out. They make donations. Okay. We have a yearly event, which is coming right up, the Labor Seder, and in that people buy ads, and mostly it's labor unions, but sometimes it's employer associations, like the Plumbing Contractors Association, and, you know, different organizations, and Jewish groups then also give money, and we get some funding from Jewish organizations. So it's a combination of different places, different sources.
I love it. You know, it's one of the things that concerned me years ago here, and I've been with the city for a very long time, and I was always very concerned about why we don't know each other.
Yeah.
People live next to each other, they live in these neighborhoods, nobody knows each other, nobody knows what's going on.
That's right.
So now, finally, people are becoming more organized.
Yes, they are.
And they're doing things, and these I'm just telling you, it's a very exciting thing for me personally to see something like that, because I love that kind of thing. I think it's wonderful. So it's a softball question. Okay. But obviously, you consider yourself to be an activist.
Yes.
In the city.
Absolutely.
What type of an activist? In what way? Not just labor. What concerns you about what's happening in the city and what's going on nationwide? Is there anything off the top of your head?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's several big issues. One is economic inequality. That's a big issue for people, and just the way that people are being treated. You know, black people, Muslims, Jews, everybody. You know, women. It's horrifying. It's truly horrifying, and actually, the Jewish Labor Committee also addresses, you know, human rights issues. So, but I see that, and you know, it breaks my heart. And you know, that's partly our leadership. It's partly what's going on economically worldwide that I think is bringing this about. It's a particular time that we're going through.
Well, I think we're working towards. For years, we've been working towards resolving this problem. Okay, of racism. I know one of the things that really concerns you very much is anti-Semitism.
Right, that's right.
Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
What concerns you?
Yeah, so...
it's something that's obviously been going on for a very long time, and we were always getting better.
Right.
What can we do to correct it? How can we help?
Yeah, I mean, many, many hundreds of years throughout Europe and in the United States, all over the world, there's anti-Semitism. So the target, the nominal target of anti-Semitism, obviously, is Jews. And we know, I mean, it's not just the Holocaust that happened. It was pogroms and people being expelled over hundreds, every couple hundred years. Anti-Semitism is a cyclical thing that happens, and it's a very particular thing that's used by people in power. And the real target, actually, of anti-Semitism is working people. Because what happens is that the mythology around Jews is that if it weren't for Jews, we would have enough money, and, you know, like it's the Jewish problem. There's like a worldwide network of Jews that are making us poor. That's a big lie. That's a big fat lie, you know. And so people who organize, you get a lot of workers. I mean, people can get really upset, as they should be, and angry, and they're easily distracted. And you could say, you know, people could be marching towards justice and taking power, you know, and saying to the wealthy people, you can't do this to us, you can't exploit this to us. And then there's, through subtle and unsubtle means, messages go out from the top. Oh, it's not us that's the problem, it's the Jews. It's a detour sign. And then people get very confused, and they attack the Jews, and then they are left powerless because they didn't get what they want. That's how anti-Semitism functions.
And do you find it's getting any better?
I think there's...
I mean, you're out and about. You travel frequently.
I mean, it's getting worse and better, actually. I mean, it's definitely getting worse right now because we're in a particular point in the cycle. If you compare it to other cycles, I think there's more information out there, and people are fighting it more. But I think that, you know, the attacks have gone up, you know, a huge amount, like 68% of more religious attacks towards Jews this year in Massachusetts. So, you know, there's...
You know, I got to tell you something. It is heartbreaking because the episode in New Zealand, the things that are going on right now,
totally heartbreaking.
It's becoming a horrible epidemic.
Yes.
And it's got to stop. And it's a very serious issue. And we're supposed to love each other.
That's right.
And tolerate each other.
Yes.
You know, and work together towards a common goal. I know those are cliches. I understand it. I get the whole thing. But you know what? We have to talk about this, and that's why you're on the show.
That's right.
Because we're not, I mean, we can't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
We have to talk about what the problems are and why you're here and why the Jewish Labor Committee is such an important part of what we do, not only in Somerville, you know, but throughout, you know, the entire state. You know, and what's going on in the country right now.
That's right.
So let me ask you this, and on a lighter kind of a, do you love helping the underdog?
Of course I do.
Don't you?
How could I not? Yes.
Don't you love that?
Yes, I do.
I tell you, I am the same way, and I love the people that I represent, and it's so motivating. It's just you just have this passion. For what you do, and I think it's very exciting. Tell me, what are some of the major accomplishments that you believe that in the past, because we're going to go to the future here, okay, in a minute. What are some of the major accomplishments you guys have that you're really proud of that you have done? We're working on some things now, but what are some of the things that you, in your tenure, or even going back before? Right.
Well, okay. I mean, in the way back, we were very involved in the civil rights movement and really involved the Jewish community in that. We were very involved in the grape boycott for helping farm workers. Many different things throughout the years. And then more recently, I think we've really taken a stand for hotel workers. We organized rabbis, hundreds of rabbis, to sign petitions around when the Hyatt hotels in Boston fired 100 workers on one day that had been working there for anywhere between 5 and 25 years.
And by the way, very difficult work.
That's right, very difficult work.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. So, and we've helped, we have a history of helping the hotel workers over the years. Legislatively, we helped pass the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights, which sets standards for how you treat domestic workers. Up until then, there were very little protections, you know, minimum wage, and overtime, and, you know, just certain kind of very basic things.
So, am I to understand that you were part of also the Fight for 15?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and what happened with that?
Well, a law was passed. It was going to go to ballot, but the legislators often need to see that the people are really in favor of something and that they're going to. That's right. That we were going to pass it by ballot, and so they knew it was going to happen. They would like to take credit for it, so they did that.
Why not, right?
Right, exactly.
Here's how I feel. If we can get something done, and somebody wants to take credit for something, good luck to them.
That's right.
Let's get it done.
Exactly.
And then we can talk about who did it. When it's all over, when you get it passed.
Right. Right.
The other thing I want to talk about too is Family Medical Leave Act.
Yes.
Let's talk about the family. If nobody knows what FMLA is, then you better know, and you should know, because it's very important. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's now Paid Family Medical Leave Act.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a child, whether you're a mother or father, if you get sick, if you have a family member that is sick, if you've been working at a place for a certain amount of months, you've been paying into a pool of money, and your employer has also been paying into that pool of money, that you will get some of your salary paid so you can stay home and take care of a loved one or take care of yourself, you know, or bond with your newborn child. So that is going to go into effect.
Years ago, before this happened, you would have to make some kind of arrangements. Or you would have to separate your employment.
That's right. You'd lose your job.
You'd end up losing your job.
That's right.
Did this go through legislature now, and it's been passed?
Yes, it has been passed.
Is it a specific number of employees? I'm not trying to get into the weeds on that, but I was wondering about that.
I think it's all employees.
That you have to have? Really? I think it's fantastic. I mean, I know that we have it. I work for the city of Somerville, you know, we have it. We think it's fantastic. We love it. When someone gets sick, it guarantees you your job back.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Nobody wants to lose their job.
Right.
You know, it's the worst thing in the world. So I think that's another thing.
That you guys it's important. It's so important.
Yeah. What else? What else did you guys were working on besides that?
More recently, well, as issues come up, as workers are in a campaign, they come to us. So right now, there's a big struggle at Tufts with the dining hall workers. And they are negotiating their very first contract, and they're having a very hard time with it. You know, there hasn't been enough movement. People can't afford health care there. The people who work there have to pay too much for the health care, and they cannot afford it.
It's a culture change for people. You know what, Tufts University, not just Tufts University, but anybody who's taking on a group that used to be non-union. There's this whole thing, this whole culture change that they have.
That's right.
And they have to try to get used to it and understand the contracts and everything else. I think they understand what's going on over there. So believe me, I get it. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are stepping up to help them out as well. I mean, I think we're going to get them on over here and have a conversation with them.
I think that would be great.
About what's going on.
But you know, they voted for a strike. I don't know if they will go on strike, but they are ready to go on strike.
Well, I'm sure they'll get great support from the students as well.
The students are all over it. The students, there was like 600 students out demonstrating a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it is Local 26. Unite Here, Local 26. That's correct.
Union with Harvard University, because when I was
and then the Harvard dining hall workers. You think that, I mean, they should just learn from watching what Harvard went through. You know, but anyway.
Years ago.
It was, that was like 3 years ago.
I get that. One thing I want to talk about, now since he's supporting Northeastern full-time, non-tenure track facility, and their fight for union fair access, decision-making, domestic workers. Let's talk a little bit about that real quick. Domestic workers, au pairs. Au pairs,
okay.
Can we talk about that?
Yes, we can.
That's kind of fascinating.
So the Domestic Worker Bill of Rights covers caregivers, nannies, housekeepers, and au pairs. Okay? So, you know, you have minimum wage requirements. We have a minimum wage right now, and we have, you know, overtime protections, and, you know, that you can't work too much, and that you can't take away cell phones, and, you know, all these different things that au pairs are included in that law, but that is not observed. And au pair agencies want to, are contesting it and saying that au pairs shouldn't be included. They say it shouldn't be included because they're not really working. It's a cultural exchange program. But these people work sometimes 50, 60 hours a week, and
So,
you know, they get taken advantage of.
let me put it
Who's
this way.
monitoring him? Nobody
Jewish
is.
labor committee.
That's right. And there's certain domestic workers organizations, and like
I love that.
Matahari is one of them.
I
The
get that,
Brazilian
yes.
Women's
Matahari workers, yeah,
right,
Senate, yeah.
Brazilian Women's Group, Brazilian Immigrant Center, you know, all these different, and the Dominican Workers Center, you know, all of these different groups. There's a mass coalition of domestic workers that works together to speak up about this, and they work with the Attorney General's office on these issues.
So basically, au pairs,
Yes.
they're generally people who are from other countries.
They are, and they're young.
They're young.
They're very young.
impressionable, and they want to be able to, you know, to do their job.
That's right.
But what happens is, what's happening is that people are taking advantage of them. They're bringing them into
They
their
do.
home, and they're taking
That's right.
advantage of them, and
I mean, some people are very nice and try to do the right thing,
Yes.
but they don't even know that there's a law. And other people are not very nice.
Right,
And
right.
they do really bad things. And, you know, they have them work around the clock, and they just,
So who do they report this to? There really isn't anybody. Is it just they can just file a complaint or something? I'm
well,
sure
you know,
they-
these people come from other countries. They don't even have anyone to talk to. So they can go to the agency, and
Right.
sometimes the agency will take them out and place them someplace else. But, you know, the agencies are more representing the employers, not the young
No,
people.
I know.
So, you know, so they don't really, they won't enforce the law.
No, it's a bad thing. It's
I mean,
just-
there are people who, when the person complained, the au pair complained, I have heard stories of the parents or the family that's hosting them starting to put their stuff in plastic bags and put them out on the street that night.
wow.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine? You
no,
don't know
I cannot.
anybody?
I cannot.
And you are
It's
put out
outrageous.
on the street?
It's outrageous.
It is totally outrageous.
Well-
Not to mention sexual harassment and other things that can happen because it's in a home and you don't know what's going on.
I'm glad the Jewish Labor Committee is all over that. But that's very important. It really is. I'm being very serious when I say it, because there's not a lot of groups that do that. We're running out of time.
Okay.
But some of the things I want to talk about here is, what do you know, we're in Somerville.
Yes.
What is your view on what is going on in the city right now? How are you feeling about the city? How are you feeling about, like, what concerns you about Somerville right now? What are the hot button issues for you personally? Not for anybody else.
For
How do you
me
feel?
personally,
Yeah.
well, I know that the City Council is working on things like housing, affordable housing, and I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Because we want to keep our diverse community and not just have wealthy white people live here.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the important things. I mean, you know, climate change is a really big issue everywhere, and I know that the city is working on trying to get some kind of a plan.
I actually really like that, because I read something
Yes.
that in Florida, people are moving out of Florida
Yes.
quickly.
Yes,
And
as
the
they
reason why is
should.
because of climate change.
That's right.
They're getting out of there. You know,
That's
so it's a
right.
concern. So I think
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
The affordable housing issue has been going on for years and years and years now.
That's right.
It hasn't been. People haven't really. They took their eye off the ball.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
We've got groups working really hard, pushing the city councilors that are in office right now. Okay. In the past, I think, did their best. I think they're doing their best that they can now. You know, but it's the people who really need to push them
Yes.
and push their agenda.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and that's what we need. And you know what? I'm telling you, I've been talking about this for a long time. A trust fund for municipal workers.
Yeah.
We have been talking about that for a long time. People who work for this city.
That's right.
Work in this city.
That's right, and then they can't live here.
Don't have the ability
They can't
to
stay
have
here.
first opportunity, or at least give us an opportunity
Yes.
to stay in the city that we work in.
I
and we
completely
love,
agree.
And we want to play here.
That's right.
Work, play,
That's
sleep,
right.
eat, whatever.
Yes.
Right.
I'm with you on that.
Right. So we know it's done. The SEIU has done this with Thomas Menino, God rest his soul, in Boston in 2002. We want that done here.
That's right.
So I'm not pushing my agenda, but I'm just letting you know.
I'm agreeing
that
with you.
That's something that needs to happen here.
Yes.
I don't know how it can happen. I know it was a couple of years ago. Alderman McWaters put it up there. I am going to be talking to the city council
Right.
about this
That's
to see
great.
if they can do something like that. And I hope that the Jewish Labor Committee will support that as well,
Okay.
because that's something that we really, really need, that should be done. I want to talk about one more thing, because we're running out. well, out of time, Judah's telling me, or he's giving me that vibe over there. The Seder.
Yes.
Right here.
Okay.
Okay.
So every year we have.
People don't know what that is.
I know.
Explain. You're going to
What a Seder is. This is a labor Seder, but a Seder is a dinner that Jewish people have usually in their homes, where we tell the story of coming out of Egypt from slavery into liberation, which is the central narrative of the Jewish people.
Wow.
You know, it's like, how do you not become a slave? How do you, in your soul, in yourself, figure out how to fight for yourself and then join with everybody to do that? And that's what happened. That's what that story is. And that story is celebrated every year by Jewish people in our homes, and we have a Seder. So the Labor Seder is a big event. We do it actually before Passover because people want to have their Seders usually in their homes with their families.
Right.
So we do it, you know, a few weeks before. And what we do is we parallel the story of coming out of Egypt into liberation and into, you know, leaving, escaping from Egypt. We parallel that with worker struggles going on today.
And then we have a celebration.
It is a celebration, yes,
right?
but it's a ritual and a celebration.
Ritual and a celebration.
That's right, of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is going to happen Sunday, April 7, 2019, 4 to 7, Temple, Israel, 477 Longwood Avenue.
That's right, and people can register. They can go to the New England JewishLabor.org.
We're going to put that up.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll
All
make
right.
sure that happens.
And they can sign up. They can. If you look under Labor Seder on the menu, then you can.
And there's food and
there's a dinner.
And
yes, all of those
people
things.
are going to talk about everything that I like to hear.
That's exactly
All the good
correct.
Stuff. And I know I was invited last year and I didn't make it, and I'd love to go again. I'd love to go for my first time.
We want you there.
So here's how we end our show. We do this all the time. All right. I know you guys are sick of probably looking at my T-shirts.
I love it.
But we have for you.
It's so great.
Axner, we have it's an SMEA T-shirt. Some
It's so great.
So we throw our brand over there. But you know what? When you see what goes on in this city of Somerville.
Only in Somerville. It's so
only
great.
in Somerville. So that can mean so many different things, can't it?
Yes, it can.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've got so many things going on right now.
Right.
And we like to focus on the good stuff anyway.
That's right.
We're always talking about the negativity, but we have to. And that's what's very important.
Yeah.
In closing, from the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, I will say this, and I love this when I saw it. What inspires us makes us who we are.
Oh.
And I think that's fantastic. So take a look at the camera and say, in unity there's strength, peace.